There's this great book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art, and in it the author mentions how motivation doesn't come from this magic place, it comes from actually starting something. Whether that's writing a book, a film, a song, the mere act of starting something begins to generate the motivation required to finish it. Now that makes sense, but if you're like me and you're a reluctant uni student, the problem isn't finishing, it's starting. For years, I've been leaving things to the last minute. I work better under pressure, so it kinda makes sense that happens, but the sheer stress of starting assignments sometimes the day before has taken a large toll on my own health over time. It's not just on the day itself, but even the weeks before I just berate myself for procrastinating and wish I get started. And then I discovered a seemingly magical technique which has made me so much more productive this year. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna work for everyone, but hear me out. It all started when I purchased a countdown timer to help me practice guitar. It helps me a lot when I can put on a timer and go through an exercise, visually being able to see how long I have left. And then one day I decided to try this technique for my uni work. So I put a timer on for 45 minutes and I started working on my assignment. And then the timer ended, I stopped, I had a 10-minute break while I made some tea, and then started the timer again. And by continuing these blocks, within half a day I'd probably written 1,500 words. It was the most productive I'd ever been. Now you're probably wondering why I don't just use my phone. It has a great app that counts down too, but it's simply not the same. The phone presents a distraction, messages, emails, Snapchats, which make me less productive. There are even studies that show that being in the same room as your phone when studying can make you more distracted. Whereas when I look down at my countdown timer, I'm in the zone. I know that I've got X amount of time before the beeping sound signals me to stop. It's like a race against the clock. And beyond that, working in 45-minute blocks is also really important because working too long in one sitting can also mentally wear you out without the proper rest breaks. So I usually finish a block and then I find that I'm super keen to get into the next block because if I keep at my current pace, I know I'll have X amount of blocks before I finish everything. And it's this reference point that keeps me more motivated than simply starting and being lost for how long I should be working on it for. I think this works really well for me too because I'm always in the same environment, my desk. At different times I browse the web aimlessly, make films, try to, listen to music, watch lectures, write assignments, design stuff, and that makes it really difficult to focus on one task sometimes. And that's why the timer is really just a placebo in some respects to delineate when I should be focusing on one thing compared to when I can multitask between a range of things. Now, this doesn't just go for uni work, it can go for everything, including writing this video or doing any kind of work that doesn't have a concrete start to finish time. For example, vacuuming my room is an example of the latter. It'll probably take me 20 minutes to half an hour. My marketing assignment on creating a new product extension, well, that could be hours spread over days, but depending how productive I am in one sitting, it could be longer or shorter. And that's where I love this seemingly archaic and superfluous tool because it helps transport me into a zone where I'm suddenly against the clock, and it puts a good kind of pressure on me that makes me not want to stop. This, in combination with my noise-cancelling headphones to put me in total silence, makes me a hell of a lot more productive than before. Now, obviously you may not be like me. Maybe racing a clock doesn't make you more productive, but simply more stressed. But I think a good takeaway is that working in the same environment can be distracting, and finding ways to separate tasks by having different rituals can be a great way to get more stuff done. For me, my countdown timer is probably the best $5 I've spent all year, because once it stops, so do I. Usually with a lot more words written on the page this time.